Hey, hello. Okay, second try. Welcome back to GehLekTeks How To Tek. I'm GehLekTek, and today we're gonna talk about how to make drum patterns. Before that, I've been away for a while. I said I'm gonna continue this series in late June, but I didn't because I was out celebrating and going to parties and being lazy. But now I'm back. Sorry for the wait, if someone's waiting for these actually. But yeah, we're gonna go right into it. So what we're gonna start with today is how to make drum patterns, how to create a groove with hi-hats, snares, different kind of percussion elements, and also drum loops. And this is a key point because we're gonna start with using a drum loop that already exists. And some people might consider this, cheating because you are using a drum groove from somebody else. But these are drum grooves that have been used for decades, And we're gonna talk about one of these drum grooves very quickly now, because and it's this one. You probably have heard it before. So this is from Amen Brother, from 1967, I think. It's really old. And this is one of the most influential samples that has ever been recorded. It's in basically every old hip hop track. It's in every old UK kind of bass track. It's the bass of jungle and drum and bass, because drum and bass came from jungle music. And it found its way into basically every genre of music you can imagine. And the reason for that, I think, is going to be demonstrated right now. We're going to open our plugin of choice for using drum loops. In my case, that's Slicex. This is a really handy plugin because if you pull a drum loop inside of this, I already have this as a Rex, so I'm going to use this one. You will see that Slicex cuts this up into segments by itself. And now you can basically play these segments with your keyboard. And yeah, this is very handy because now you have it in your piano roll like this and you can rearrange it. And this is why I like to use it. And first of all, you can or cannot do this next step. I like to quantize because then I have more control over how, I like to have my drum loops precise. So I'm gonna quantize this by hitting Control Q. And as you see, this just snaps your notes into whatever grid you have selected. And now to show you why this drum loop is as famous as it is, we're just gonna loop it and leave it playing for a while. So I don't know if you're noticing what I'm trying to demonstrate, but this does not get boring quickly. You can leave this running for hours, and people do, and people dance to it for hours. It's amazing. It's the grooviest piece of drums that's ever been recorded, probably. And now, let's try fitting this to the drum groove we created previously, which is this one. As a drum groove, I mean kick bass that we produced previously. This one. So now we're gonna fit our drum loop over this. And I don't like the second part, so I'm just gonna cut this away and copy this over. So we have, the good part of the drum loop. But let's change it up at the end so it's not that boring. Let's just, take this away and just copy these over, maybe like this. Let's see how this sounds. It's a little wonky. Yeah, it needs the snare. Ah, that's great. Yeah, I like that. I want this a little more. Yeah. That's the ticket. Okay, so first of all, we need this in a mixer track. And of course, we need to cut away the bass because, you know, this drum loop has kick drums and we already have a kick drum. So we basically don't need anything below like 200 to 300 hertz. So I'm just going to use a steep high pass filter and put it to around 300 hertz. Let's see how that sounds now. That's a little too hollow. Let's go to 230, a little lower. Yeah, 180 to 200. Yeah. Now, another thing this plugin has is like a volume envelope, and this volume envelope affects every single step of this drum pattern. So if you enable this, you can make every step of the drum pattern shorter or longer. And this is amazing. And without it, it sounds like this. So this has like a lot of, you know, noise. It's very long drums. It's not really snappy, you know, you have the groove, but something's missing, kind of, you know. And this is how you fix that. You just enable this volume envelope and now you have this really kind of snappy. So disabled, it's like, wait. Without it. And with it. Let's make it even shorter. And let's pitch it up a little. Make it a little bit quiet. And let's go. I think this is too complex, so I'm just gonna simplify it by only using the first 2 beats looping. That seems good. And as you can hear, this like just adds a lot of groove to our kick bass, you know, and that's what you need. That basically is the backbone of every techno track. It's like the kind of groove that it has, and we can make this groove even complexer and fuller and better by adding more than just, you know, this aim and break. So let's clear this aim and break, like it's muted now. Let's get rid of all of these because we want to make this new. And now let's add some drum samples. And I'm gonna just use, you know, this I downloaded, just like type in Google free aim and break sample pack and you will find these for free. But now I'm gonna use FL Studio default samples, you know, and let's start with a snare. And yes, with snares, I basically only use these 3. I use the 707, I use the 808, and I use the 909. And basically you get to know these samples and you know which sample fits which kick bass better, you know. Listening to this, is it? I'd say it's probably the 808 snare. So you want to have your snares at like 2 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. And this like, it's just a really, really basic drum pattern. And it just adds flavor to every kind of beat. And the thing is, you can leave this running for like a couple of beats and then build up your drum groove as it continues. So I'm gonna just like play a little live set, quote unquote, with my mouse here to show you what I mean. So you have this drum groove running, you know. So, you know, with these percussion elements, you can leave a beat running for a longer time, basically, and it doesn't get boring as quickly, of course. And you want to, like, bit by bit add these in, you know? And the most basic drum pattern I'm going to show you right now. First of all, we're going to use a little bit of post-editing on the snare because it's too loud, it has too many highs and stuff. So first of all, high pass on everything, you know. Snares don't get important until like 300 hertz. So let's see how that sounds. Yeah, it's okay. Let's cut the highs a little bit. Yeah, that's good. Make it a little snappier. And now we're gonna add some shadow snares. So these are like little additional snares you add to get a nicer groove, because only having like the snare on 2 and 4 is boring sometimes. So let's do something like this, for example, and see how it sounds. It's a little too much. Yeah, like that. And let's make the additional snare a little bit quieter and pitch it up. Let's do another one here. Maybe another one here. Nah, that's too much. Put this a little more outside and let's add some reverb. That's a lot. No low frequencies in our reverb. Put the decay down, make it really quiet. Just to add this little bit of room, I just muted my mic channel. So without the reverb, it's like this. And with, you have this, you know, you have this nice space that your snare is now in. And you can also, you know, put a pre-delay on it, which also sounds great. Yeah, I don't like it in this case. Now we are going to layer this snare with a 909 because I think it's a little too weak for this drum groove, because the drum groove is pretty aggressive and the snare is like really, really thin, you know, it's like really... It doesn't seem right. Pitch it up a little, see how that sounds. And all of this like drum pattern editing and sample editing for the drum groove is just playing around basically and changing parameters until you have something that you like the sound of. And it's not really something that you can like, you know, you can't have like a formula for this that works every time, because every track and every kick bass you make sounds different, feels different. You have a different kind of sense what kind of groove could fit, and you just have to go by feeling, you know, and just experiment around. Don't be afraid to use crazy effects on these, and just like play around, layer them until they sound good. So now we are going to layer our snare, and let me quickly watch if it's still recording. Yes. So we're going to layer a 909 snare on top of our 808 snare. And this 909 snare is a lot more aggressive and long and noisy, and let's just see how it sounds if we just layer it on top on 2 and 4. Yeah, that's really, really loud and abrasive. So now we're gonna see how it sounds if we put it into the same mixer track as our 808. Yeah, it's still too long, you know, it's still too noisy. So let's try fading it out. And this is what this knob is for, the fade out. I think I also used it here. Yes. So, okay. Let's quickly talk about these parameters. You have sample start, length, fade in, fade out, crossfade, and trim. You know, sample start basically sets the start point of your sample. So you have this waveform, and if I change this, you will see in the waveform that it just stretches it. It doesn't really get stretched, but it looks like it. What it does is it changes the start point. So if we do this, it looks like it's getting warped to the left. And wait, I don't want this. Yeah, length just cuts away the end point. So it's exactly the same as sample start, but on the other side of the sample. Makes it shorter. Fade in is similar to sample start, but it just decreases the volume over time. It adds an envelope of the volume at the start of the sample, which increases over time. So if you put this up, we suddenly have, you know, the start point is gone and it's like very smooth. I never use this one. Fade out I always use, because it does the exact opposite as in. It fades out the end of the sample. And this is very, very cool, because we don't want our 909 snare to be this long, so we just put this up and now we have, and this sounds good. Let's listen to a drum groove with this. Yeah, that's an okay snare. And crossfade and trim, they're not that important. We're just gonna ignore that they're there because they're not important. Sorry. Did I just apologize to... Okay, fuck it. So, yes. What else can we try? I'm gonna try putting our 909 snare into a different mixer track than our 808 snare and EQing it differently. also spreading it out differently and just see how that sounds. You know, I really don't have a plan how to go with this, what to do with this. Let's just see. You know, the 909 snare, in my opinion, has a really nice like low mid punch. So if we boost that, you can hear it. It makes it has like this really nice knocky kind of thing. And like 500 hertz or something, like boost it a little bit, then cut this out a little bit and boost these highs. So the 808 snare now has a reverb, so let's try adding a delay on our 909 snare and see how that sounds. Of course, that's stupid because I haven't changed this at all, so let's make it shorter like this. It's way too loud, way too loud. And also I want a high pass filter on this delay feedback. This is through the Ep.3, by the way, it's a really great delay plugin. And let's see how it sounds now. Still too loud. Let's do it a ping pong, so it goes from left to right. Maybe play with our sample rate. I actually like that. It's a little bit weird, but so what the so am I. So let's, yeah, I like that. Little less. All right, let's go on. Wait, let's see how it sounds all together. Ah, wait. The Amen is too low. Let's pitch it up. I think that our Amen break sounds too dry, and it could use some kind of effect. And what I like to do is adding a fruity free filter, yes, and putting this as a band pass, and then swiping this around. I'm just gonna use edit events because I don't want to record it right now. Let's see how long this actually is. Okay, it's until here. So we just wanna make this go up and down again. And this basically now modulates this frequency envelope, which we just put. It sounds cool. So now we're gonna make the dry wet a little less. Has this swoopy effect now. Maybe try also adding a little bit delay on this. Like why the hell not? That's great. Little reverb. Now I think it's enough. I think it's enough. Let's see how it sounds with everything else. Yes. Okay. Next thing. Yeah, we need an open head, which is equally important as the snare, I think. and also features my favorite sample of all time, which I probably used in every track I've ever made just because I love it so much. It's the 909 open hat, which sounds like this. It's just this very, very aggressive, abrasive hi-hat sound, very classic hi-hat sound. You know it from classic house tracks and everything. I love this sample. And the reason is really, if I make a track and I don't use this as my open hat, I feel like the track is missing something always. And I always end up adding it. Even if I'm like, okay, now today I'm not gonna use the 909 open hat and I just can't do it. I have to use this sample. Enough with the romanticizing about the 909 open hat. Let's just put it in and let me show you what I mean. Because this transforms every track into something great. But first, if you add it, you're like, oh my god, this way too noisy, it's so loud, I don't know. Sorry. I don't know what to do with this, because if you leave it unedited, it sounds like this. You know, which is really loud and really annoying. So, fade out again, first of all. Seems like a good length. Put it in a mixer track. Put on a high pass filter on this one. Put it up until like here. Reduce the highs a little bit. A little bit quieter. Spread it out. It's just so great. These few tweaks make this sound so good. I love it. I love it. You can also pitch it up and down depending on what tune your track is in. I sometimes really tune this 909 open hat to the note which my bass drum is in and my bass line is in, but it's really hard and a lot of times you can't hear it. I just go with what sounds best in this like small pitch range. And it's probably this. Yes. Yes. This is great already, you know, but there's like one tweak that makes this sound even better. And that's adding a delay. And it's a very specific kind of delay, which I always put on my offbeat open hats. Also something I didn't talk about now, you want your open hat on the offbeat. So that's like every time your offbeat bass line hits. So in between your kicks, right in between your kicks, you put your open hat. Most of the time. You can also put shadow open hats in it like this, you know. Holy shit. That's actually cool. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it. Nice shadow open hats. But basically, you know, in between your kicks, you put your offbeat open hat. And now the delay. Exactly. Oh my god, I'm so chaotic. You put the delay in, put the time on this value, which is 3 to 0, which makes it, you know, very cool. And this makes it sound like this. So it basically creates this kind of like hat pattern on its own. And if you put down the VAT knob, you have this. You can put this really low, but it makes a big difference. It's without it and with it. Okay, 909 open hat, best sample ever. Let's make a reverse snare. We are at half an hour already. Okay. So next thing, I'm just quickly making a reverse snare, which is really, really easy. You just clone your snare channel. Choose the snare channel you want to clone. I think I'm actually gonna clone the 909 snare. Now you have a clone channel of this. You click the cloned one and click on reverse. And now you change your output so it's like this again, and this actually makes the in your out. It's confusing. Just make it how you want to make it. Now we're gonna see how we can add this reverse snare to make like a kind of cool note, and we're gonna actually make it a little quieter. And let's see. That's really cool. All right. Got sidetracked again. Did a little live set. Sorry. But yeah, this basically also was a quick showcase how you can like change around these kind of like different groove particles and add them and remove them to like create a new kind of drum loop and a new groove, a new feeling, a new tempo to dance to, if you will. Last thing, last part of our drum patterns is gonna be a head roll, a rolling closed head, basically. And samples I like to use for these are also 707 closed head, 808 closed head, 909 closed head, and any other like closed head sample in here. Sometimes I also use open head and make them really short. It's gotta be something that's kind of weak, but also fits your drum groove. So let's see what's... I think the 707 will be fine. And what we're doing here is we play around with the volume a bit. And the quickest way to do this is you just draw in your first 4 notes, and you actually want the one that's on top of the offbeat to be the most loudest. So you have something that goes up and down like tuk, 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 tuk. And so you do this, which sounds like this. and you almost don't notice it, but this adds a whole lot of groove to your groove. This, what I just did here. Okay, let's quickly explain it. I'm getting too much ahead, I think. So on top of your piano roll, right here, you can drag with your right mouse button, like this, yeah? And then if you have a thing selected like this, it actually copies it over until this line. If you press Control B, B as in Bethesda, as in break, you just press Control B over and over again, and you can, you know, in Ableton this is done with Control D for duplicate. In FL Studio you do it with Control B. And this also copies the velocity values, which is really handy. So now we have this in there. And this has to be a lot shorter. It's really harsh. Maybe let's try removing the start. That seems fine. And these head rolls, they really don't need a lot of low end. You can cut away a lot here. You know, you can basically only leave above 2,500 in, and you still have something that adds to your, you know, also, another thing you can do if you like it's a little more swingy, there's this great swing knob for FL Studio, and basically what it does is it creates swing, which basically means it stretches the length of some notes in this grid and compresses some others. You know, it's like comparing rock and roll to blues. The one is like and the other one is. So if we put this up, let's just. You know, it gets really crazy if you have high values in there, but like a little bit can really like bring the funk. I like to have this at like 20% for most of my tracks. .909 open head is still a little bit too loud, I think. Yeah, this is also too loud. Yeah, I think we're done. This is our drum pattern. So I hope this was helpful at all. I'm gonna make another video on 3x oscillator because this has been a long one already. And we also talked a little bit about it, about 3x oscillator already. So next video is just gonna be on how to use 3x oscillator to make you know, synth leads and certain kind of synth sounds and reoccurring like sounds that I use in my music probably. Just showing you how to make awesome sounds with this like simple plugin. And I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. I hope I'll be back again soon. I hope I have the time to make another one of these because they're fun. I like to talk about what I do. And yes, hope you enjoy it. Leave a like, don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, have a good one. Let's go. Thank you.